Welcome everyone. Today we have another new episode and we're going to discuss about the women empowerment. And we have Madam Brenda from South Africa, Chioma from Nigeria, and Sharita Sharma. We have a plan to introduce more guests, but we are waiting. Let's see what happened. Today actually we have just launching our 150th episode. So hopefully our audience
Hey.
going to enjoy these sessions. So I want to start with Madam Brenda, like what's the present condition right now, especially women empowerment in South Africa? And yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone, and hi to your viewers as well. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here once again. Just on women empowerment in South Africa, um, I can safely say that South Africa is pro women empowerment. We've got laws that govern empowerment of women, empowerment of girls. We even have a specific ministry that looks after women and children. So it is one of the key things or priorities from the government plan to ensure that there is gender equality in the country and the empowerment of women is there. It goes to an extent of ensuring that in the corporate environment, there are policies and law that requires women to be hired at senior positions, more women to have a voice in the different positions of authority within the corporate environment. So you will see, even when you look at the makeup or the composition of our parliament as well, there is a whole lot of women that are represented there. We've got a lot of women that are sitting in as ministers in the government as well. I think South Africa is one of the first countries, post apartheid, to have a vice president who was a black female. So I must say that there are laws around women empowerment, and it is a key priority. Practice, on the other hand, is something that we can talk about further.
Mhm. Yes. Thank you, Madam Sharita. Like, you have different kind of contribution in research as well as intellectual activities. We want to know more that what's going on in India about this women empowerments, and what your perceptions about the global community, because you are also working with TEF. And yes, and how actually we can develop the present situation. What's the strategy we can take?
Thank you, Mr. Sharif. First of all, I would like to congratulate everyone on the World Trade Forum for having completed your 150th episode. I think it's a very proud moment for all of you, as well as for us, because I have been associated with you since a long time, and I see this forum as an extension of what I'm already doing in the international arena. So, congratulate once again. When it comes to women empowerment, I think almost all the countries have now realized that yes, women empowerment is an which needs to be dedicatedly looked into, which needs to be addressed. And yes, every country, along with India, has made rules applicable. We have the charter points issued by United Nations itself for development and empowerment of women. So I think there is an awareness at this moment in the global arena as well regarding women empowerment and what we can do in this regard. Of course, when it comes to practice, depending on different countries and the social circumstances, the economic point of view, things may change from country to country, but every country is now at least aware. In India, also, I think the government is very proactive when it comes to the women empowerment and equality. I think we have so many laws. One of them, which comes to my mind, is the recent development where women could inherit property, the ancestral property, which earlier was only meant for the sons. So now they can inherit the property. They have rights which earlier they did not have, and India is very moving very solidly on the path to achieve sustainable development goals for women. It is focusing on the women's education and empowering them through financial benefits, small scale entrepreneurship, education, as well as social conditioning, changing the social norms. So I think this is a problem which needs to be tackled from diverse areas. This is not simply like, okay, fine, we'll empower women financially and everything is taken care of. I think we need to look at it from all angles. We need to look at it from social, from economic, from the political. We need to have more representation there of women. A lot needs to be done. Things are being done. Of course, not very. I'm not 100% satisfied. I cannot say that. No one is. But yes, we are progressing in the right direction, and I hope in the coming years we'll have. More to be proud of as a nation, as a world. So yes, thank you.
Mhm. Thank you, Madam Sharita. I want to ask Madam Chioma, like as you are from the Nigeria, so how we can think about the Nigerian culture, especially what the present condition in women, especially in the COVID situations. We saw from the World Bank reports and everywhere, uh, as the COVID comes now, gender discriminations and many things happen. So, what the present situation in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you, Sharif. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes,
Can you hear me? Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah. I'm so grateful for being on this platform and being part of this discussion on the 150th episode of your program. Okay. With regards to women empowerment, women issues, especially with the present condition of COVID-19. I will tell you that in Nigeria, um, women empowerment and rights issues is something that has been in the news a lot. But then there is a realization that many women are not even aware of the opportunities that are available, to them because of heavy dependence on what societal norms and all that. So they're not even aware of the opportunities that are available to them. They're not even aware that there are some laws that are making it possible for them to, get things better. So there's a lot of gap in the sense of awareness on the part of the female gender, of the part of women on the availability of empowerment programs and all that. And then with COVID-19 coming, I will tell you that in Nigeria, women had to bear the brunt of this COVID-19 lockdown and pandemic a lot. Why? Because we have, if you look at the number of women who are in schools, who teach in schools, especially private schools, there are so many of women teaching in private schools. And with the pandemic, there were issues of non-payment of salaries, and then there were lockdowns, and then the rest of the women who now have to buy and sell in the market were not forced to stay at home. So there was a lot of hunger. If you look at what happened in Nigeria a few weeks back with the NSAS protest, and then the discovery of warehouses where the aid, as in the palliatives, were stored, you will see that if you critically analyze those videos, you will see women as in mothers, trying to grapple for food for their children. So there is a lot of the impact is so much on the women. There is so much impact on women with regards to COVID-19, job losses, pay cuts, hunger, starvation, even domestic violence. Yeah, there's a lot of domestic violence with COVID-19 are suffered by women. So I think in Nigeria now, the discussion is moving from what are the laws in the books, what laws do we have in our books, to do women even know that these laws exist? Do they know that these programs exist? So we are trying to see how we'll get NGOs to start saying the right things to women. Let them even know that these things are actually existing, these laws are existing, these programs are existing, and they can leverage on these things to make, to make their lives better. And then we are also focusing on mental empowerment, because we need to free the mind first before we even get it to align with all these other laws and programs and the strategies and all that. So that is pretty much it.
Okay, Madam Brenda, like, how do you want to share some idea about the Nigeria or African context? Like, you want to share something about us? I think Chioma has some problem with internet.
Yeah. Okay. So like I mentioned earlier on, and I will use South Africa as an example here. There's a lot of laws, and Choma, I think, alluded to it as well. In Nigeria, there are laws as well. The issue that we find, and we experiencing this in South Africa, is that even though there are laws, the protection of those laws is where the problem is. Enforcing those laws is where the problem is. Uh, we've got areas where it is happening very well, and we've got areas where it is happening moderately, and areas where people couldn't even bother. They are more interested in complying with the law, or basically just ticking the box, instead of being committed to the spirit of the law. So you find issues like you have women that are represented in parliament, or women that are holding executive positions or positions of power, but they are not equipped with the mandate to be able to execute on with that authority that they have. So they are just there for sure, so people can tick the box and say, yeah, but we've got a law or that protects women, or we have ticked the gender equality box. So those are the issues that we find, I think, in most African countries. And another element of it is that we seem to be focusing on areas where it can be seen, so that we can, it sounds more like a PR exercise than anything. And this doesn't happen everywhere. So you would find that when you move more into the urban areas, or move more into the big corporates, there's a lot of emphasis in gender equality, and you see it displayed where women's rights are respected, children are taken to work and given opportunities to study, and they are prioritized when it comes to healthcare and all of those things. But when you move into rural areas, that is not the case. There is still patriarchy that is ruling how things are done. So that is a big bit of a problem, because now you have this balance, this uneven thing between culture, law, and just normal practice. Things are just not gelling properly. So I think those are the little things that we need to start looking at and say, how do we ensure that if we're talking about gender equality, and we say it is law in a certain country, it applies across board, and the practice matches the process, which matches the policy, which aligns to the law of the country. And in terms of protection, where it is found that people are not complying to the law, there is consequence management. And where they are complying, but there is no commitment, because commitment then comes in the practice. How people carry them. Are they living those things that they say are implemented? If you don't see that, there should be consequences around that. And women themselves should be empowered enough to raise these issues as they happen. And when it affects them, when it affects people around them, they should be able to stand up and say, but guys, we are not doing it right. And men as well should be able to stand up and say, but guys, we are not doing it right. Can we just stand back and allow them the space to also catch up with us?
Mhm. Okay, okay. Thank you, Madam Sharita. I want to know, like, example at present, we have economical challenge, major economical challenge. I think every country facing right now. If any country said, "Oh, no, I do not have this kind of problem," I think this is not true. But my question is that in that situations, how women can contribute more strategically in terms of developing economical aspects in micro initiative as well as in macro level.
Okay, here I would like to talk about what the Norwegian Prime Minister said a few days ago, that if we bring in more women to the labor force, then Norway's market condition would improve more than the petroleum revenue that it generates. So I think that is a kind of attitude that we need to have at this moment, because we need to understand that women make up for 50% of the population, entire world. When I talk of it, maybe even more, if taken as a whole. But of course, let's go with the 50% thing. So if you're keeping the 50% of the population under wraps, if you're not allowing the creativity to come forward, if you're not taking their expertise into consideration, their skills, uh, their expertise in so many areas, their emotional intelligence that I always talk of, that women have in them, the inborn. So if you are not taking that into consideration, how do we go about building a financially and economically stable society? I think that is where we are making a big mistake, that we are not allowing these people to come out of their homes and do what they are best in doing. So I think we need to create opportunities where women can come forward of their homes and contribute to the country's growth and development. Like you were talking about small scale industries, yes, we
Mhm.
can have these small. Like in I was reading somewhere that in places like in Himachal Pradesh, I think in India, there's this NGO which has trained women to make soaps and oils from the extract of apricot seeds. So, they are doing this and they are helping the economy of the society. Earlier, these people used to be very poor, but once the women were trained in extracting the oils of these seeds and making, they have been trained in everything, right from manufacturing the soaps and oils to packaging to, exporting them. So I think they have improved their livelihood, and they have changed the uh, economics of that entire region. At the same time, post COVID, I learned that there is an NGO in Nepal which has been urging women to make masks, different kinds of masks, because everyone needs them. So, and these are such innovative masks. Some of them are sewed to the dresses itself. Some of them come with scarves and all. So that kind of thing gives women, not only gives them independence, but also improves the economic condition of their own homes and societies. So, uh, and uh, when we talk about women, we are talking about a different genre of expertise that they bring to the work front.
Mhm.
Men and women operate differently. If men have some kind of skill sets which women we think do not possess, then women also have some kind of skill sets which men do not possess. So I think we are
Mhm.
yet using those skill sets. When I talk of we talk about the world in entirety. We are not using the specific skill sets that women can bring to the workplace. We have to give them that chance. We have to make them. We have to cooperate with them. We have to make working hours flexible, because we know that a woman is not just a woman; she is a mother as well. And mothering a child is such a full-time responsibility, a full-time job. So we have to take that into consideration. We have to make it flexible for them. We have to make it easy for them to turn up to the workplace or maybe work from home. So these times are desperate. These times are desperate. We need to all kinds of skills that we can. And we don't need to look any further. We can just look in our own homes. We have
Mhm.
plenty of women in our homes. We just need to bring them outside, use their skill in the workplace, and thus better our own economic conditions. That's what I feel.
Excellent, excellent. Madam Chioma, how do you want to share some of the strategy that is possible to implement in Nigeria?
Okay, I've seen so many NGOs and agencies, even the government, they come up with all these micro scale acquisition programs where they teach women, micro basic skills like baking skills, sewing skills, and all that. But then there is an approach that I saw 2 months back that actually excited me. There's this NGO that they are going into the rural area and getting women to enroll in adult education, those that still want to go to school. And I was so excited when I read their about them. I reached out to their leader, and then she explained the practice. She said yes, most of these women had plans to go to school, to have a career, but you know how it is with getting married early, having children, and not having money. So these NGOs are actually sponsoring women that still want to go to school, no matter the level where you stopped. They get them to enroll in adult education classes. They get them to write exams. They pay for their exams. They pay for their exams. So they just invited me to come and give a talk on the day that they were trying to showcase the results of 100 of the participants. They wrote this their exam, their certificate exams, and they passed. 100 of them, rural women, because at the end of the day, the bulk of those that need this aid are actually living in the rural areas, in the rural environment. And these NGOs, like Brenda said earlier, most of them focus on those that are living in the big cities, those living in the township areas where, but the people that actually need these things are in the villages. So some of the strategies that are actually working is acquiring skill. Yes, it's very good to teach them to acquire skills, but there are still those that still want to go to school, but they can't because of finances, because of But now we know that with e-learning that has become the order of the day, any woman can actually get to any level she wants to get to. Okay, there are so many open universities now that you can study at your pace. Being a mother, being a wife, being a small scale business owner, you can still study at your pace to even get up to PhD level. There are so many open universities, and then with this COVID-19 now, it has shown us that you can actually study from your home. You can do whatever you want to do from your home. And then if the only barrier to this is maybe access to internet, and maybe the devices that they will need to access these online education platforms and all those things. That is where the government and the NGOs can now come in. They can do some, they can subsidize the cost of equipment for women. They can subsidize the cost for broadband access for women, so that they can actually pursue this. Because at the end of the day, if we can get more women at the top, the decision making, if all of us are at the bottom, we are so bottom strong, it won't move us beyond where we want to get to. But if we get more women to go to actually, those that want to go to school, to actually go to school, and we get a lot of us at the top, at the management level, at the decision-making level, then the call for women empowerment will actually proceed faster than it is actually moving now. So these are some strategies I think that some NGOs are actually using them in Nigeria presently, and it can be copied by other NGOs or other governments across Nigeria.
Thank you. Madam Brenda, as you have a strong engagement with the fourth industrial revolutions and this kind of project, anyway, I can ask Madam Sharita that how actually technology help women to empower themselves and how they can contribute for economy.
Yes, technology has definitely come as a boon to us at this moment because as Chioma was talking about, how all these open universities are there where we can, start our education again after a gap of some time. Many women drop out. It's always happening everywhere. Girl child is the first person in the family to drop out of her school. A woman will be the first one to drop out from college because she has to be married off or there is economic constraint in the family. So this has always been happening, and especially in places like India and Africa, we have had this problem. So technology comes at this moment as a boon for us because we can connect with so many others. And post COVID, I think the way we are connecting here, the way I can listen to Brenda from South Africa and I can listen to Chioma from Nigeria and to other women from other parts of the world, this would not have been possible earlier because every time it's not possible for us to go physically and attend talks and all. But now that we can connect, when we share ideas, we share visions, we share expertise, we share knowledge, and we become a community of people who understand each other, help each other come up. Just like we have this Women We Can organization, a platform where we are offering our services to help women develop skills and all. So this would not have been possible if we did not have this technological boom. So even though I always keep on saying that, yes, we need to have that human touch, we need to have a humane inside us. But yes, technology has come to live with us. We have to live with it. We have to grow with it, not forget that we are humans. But yes, we have to make the best use of technology. Brenda is back on the show. Yes, we'd like to hear from her as well. Brenda.
Yes, Brenda, yes.
So I'm just going to take off from what Sarita was saying earlier on around the fact that technology has come at the right time, where really women are crying out for help and saying, we need to be seen as well. We need to be recognized in the way we are, not to be changed to be something else. There are women that are just comfortable staying at home, but they still want to study. They still want to do more. Some of the women is the fact that their circumstances doesn't allow them to do more. They are single mothers. Some of them are married, but you find that the male partner in the relationship doesn't take an active role in looking after the kids and looking after the family. Therefore, a woman has got to go to work, come back and work at home, even though it's not seen as work. So you don't have time for yourself. You don't have time to help the kids with all of that. But with technology, you are able to do that and more. That you can work from home. That's the first thing. The second thing is you are able to get access to more information to even be able to help your kids do more. Because before, a child will come back with homework and I'll sit there and say, I know nothing about it because I don't have access to data. I'm not educated on the subject. Like, there's nobody to help me as well. So at least that helps. So what we need from either support, be it from government, from our partners, or from women around us, the community, is, that support to be able, that empowerment to be able to get to a level where we can start doing these things for ourselves. Those women that are sitting in rural areas without jobs, there are government facilitate they can be government facilitated programs where you teach them simple skills of, maybe starting a vegetable garden, so that the woman doesn't have to worry about food, for example. They can just buy the rice and the basics, but then at least they've got spinach growing in the garden, they've got tomatoes growing in the garden. They can do that. They can even sell that, make a living for themselves, while at the same time they know that they're home, they can take care of their kids. Programs like that are subsidized. When you are in the workplace and you are a woman, if a woman is holding that a position of authority, remember that that woman has not had that chance. They have not had that exposure in the past. They still need to catch up. If they do not perform at the level that you are as a man yet, it doesn't mean that they do not have the intelligence. They do, but they need to be empowered to get there. They need support so that they can get there. So just that little bit of hand holding or boost for them to get there. Because it has been proven over and over again, where women hold positions of power, those organizations just grow a lot more than when men are in positions of power. And this has got nothing to do with men not being able to perform or whatever, but it's being scientifically proven. The data is there, it proves this. When women are running governments, they do better. We've seen that in COVID. Governments that were run by women, they did so much more, because when a woman thinks, they don't think only about themselves, they're thinking about 3 other people next to them. They're thinking about the community, they're thinking about the next door neighbor. So all I'm saying is that, there is so much more that we can do in order to, empowerment is not about just giving the position. Let's support them while they're in that position. Not about giving them access to the internet. Let's give them the tools. When you give me access to data and I don't know what to do with that data, it is pointless. So training programs and nurturing this at a young age. What are we doing for girls when they're growing up? What are we teaching our boys about how to treat women? What are we treating those girls about how to treat other girls, so that they grow up to know that this pull me down syndrome doesn't work, that we need to support each other going forward. So those are the little things that we can start doing in our own communities, and then we grow up with these things into corporate environment, into government entities, into social networks, and we can do more. Sarita spoke about Women We Can, and I think Choma alluded to it as well. A wonderful organization that is saying we are not anti-men, but we are focusing on women, and we are giving them the skills to do that. And it is through networks like that that women like me, for example, last week, there was a session that was scheduled by the founder of that organization, just for kids. It was important to me as a mother to have my kids join it for the exposure that they will have. And the feedback that I got from there, it was kids that were interested in what's happening out there in the world, not only focused in South Africa, focused on what's happening outside of the border of South Africa, focused on other things that they wouldn't have known about should they not have spoken to another child that is not in the same environment as them. That rarely happens when it is a man in that space. And again, I emphasize, this is not to say men cannot do it, but women take an active approach when it comes to family and community.
Excellent. Madam Chioma, what do you want to add in terms of technology and other things in Nigeria? How technology helps women, uh, as well as what the present condition as you have involvement with academia? So women's situations, especially their job markets, how they involve in the business arena. What's your opinion?
Okay, yeah. In Nigeria, I will tell you that women are not doing incredibly bad with regards to pushing into all fronts. We have women taking, very daring roles. Like, we have women in parliament, and even though there are few, but the few of them that are in parliament, you hear their voices all the time. We all know Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who is trying to become, she's on the race of becoming the leader of the World Trade Organization. She's Nigerian, so we have them in pockets. OBS Ekwesili, so many of them, and they are very, very daring. In the academia, you have women. We have vice chancellors that are women, even though they are few. I keep saying even though they are few, but when you look at their achievements and what they are doing, is actually very, very exciting to see. We have women in business, we have women in politics, we have women all over the places. We the conversation now that we are having in Nigeria is, how do we get more women to join us? Those of the few of us that have already decided to plunge into our different career paths. Okay, we have so many women doing businesses, earning a lot of money, but we just need to give them that simple little boost to tell them that, yeah, you can actually be out there. You can actually be at the top. So that is the basis of so many of the conversations that we are having. And then the approach that most of us are taking is to catch them young. When I say catch them young, what do? We are trying to talk to girls who are still in school. We tell them there is no need being scared of taking challenging roles. You can take up any. You can study any course you want to study. You can be in STEM. You can be in the arts. You can be in governance. And then we try to tell them that yes, the attacks are going to come. Because there is this or written quote or charter that once you are successful as a woman, you must have compromised on certain things. So we are beginning to tell them that that is going to happen. But when it happens, it shouldn't make you to pack up. It was in the past that if you hear those things, you pack up your bags and then you say, I wouldn't want to be labeled, be given this and that label. It doesn't happen anymore. There was a time they will tell you, if you shave off your hair as a woman, it means you don't want to do this. If you do the, there are so many things, but it's not affecting so many of us anymore. And we are struggling to make sure that the young girls, they grow up with it. Because like I tell people, I didn't wake up to become this strong. I'm this strong as a woman because I grew up under my mother, who was very daring. She was very daring, and she did things differently. So if these girls maybe don't have models that are strong enough to tell them that they can if they want to, then it becomes a problem. So we are organizing so many programs for young girls in universities, even as small as those in primary schools, telling them that you see, hey, you can be the class captain, you must not be the assistant. There is no rule in the world that says that a girl must be an assistant class captain, because that is where the conditioning starts. When the roles, they'll tell you the school prefect has to be a boy and the assistant has to be a girl. We are telling them, no, let all of them compete and then let the best be the leader. So it's a gradual process, but we're actually getting there. Because like most times on my Facebook page, before now, when we get attacks on women and I post it on my page, only a few women will come out to identify. But these days, you come to my Facebook page and you make a derogatory comment against women, you see 5, 10, 20 women coming out at you like, we just want to we now want to talk, so it makes me so excited that, and you see, I get a lot of calls, inbox messages, my friends that we went to school with that have abandoned their dreams, they come and they tell me, Choma, I think I should go back to school. I think I should go and learn a trade. I think I should, and I say, wow, this is amazing. And once you have dreamt about it, you can achieve it. So the message is, we are trying to put ourselves together, form a formidable front, and push forward to ensure that women are liberated in the mind, because the mindset thing is a problem in Africa, especially. I don't know how it is out there. In Africa, the mindset is a problem. You know, they tell you that there are some aspirations you cannot have as a woman. No, but we're telling them, no, we can aspire because we are living, we are created, we have dreams. And so that is the level that we are taking the whole thing to. So economically, we are getting more women to take up, serious roles economically, socially, politically, even in the churches and in the mosques. We are getting so many women to take up roles in the churches and in the mosques and in all the worship centers. So yes, we can. Because we are women, we can.
Yes, thank you. I want to take few of the audience comments as well as questions. Mahadia Hassan, congratulations, WTF. Equality for women is progress for all. I mean, the entire nation. Do you agree? This, thank you. Uh, I want to take this question, especially Mohammed Sohail Rana. How can financial literacy be improved among women in developing nations? Madam Sharita Sharma.
Yes, I think this is a very important question at this point because unless and until we teach women financial literacy, we are not going anywhere. So I think, and then this is something we should be taught right along with school education, not just for women, but also for men. I think financial literacy is so very important that we need to inculcate this in the school curriculum itself. Now, coming to women, and now at this, like women who are matured enough, or women who have got married, and maybe they have their own families. How can financial literacy be taught to them? Now, what I see in my own community is that uh, we have these small scale saving schemes, which are called GOATs here. So these saving schemes, every woman, irrespective of whether she's a homemaker or she works small time, whether she cleans other people's homes. So what they do is they have their own community where they save money, maybe 100 rupees per month, but that is something which goes towards a bigger goal. And then once in every month one woman is given loan on that. She's given a loan in order to improve, in order to buy something or do anything that she wishes to, and then she repays the amount in small measures along with a very minimum interest. So I think these kind of activities will definitely improve financial literacy in women. They have to understand that even if you save a penny a day, will someday make it bigger. So that is to start now, and it is already starting in many places. I'm happy to see that in India at least we have this, and then the women are coming forward. They save. I see women who work in other people's homes. They very proudly they go buy things. They take loan from these small saving groups, and then they go buy things for themselves or for the family. They are repaying the loans. So yes, that is how this can be done. So as again and again, we have always been talking about how everything can be changed only when the mind changes. It is only when your attitude changes, it is only when the attitudinal biases change, then only can we talk about change in the real sense. So yes, that would be my answer to this.
Thank you, Madam Brenda. What do you want to add about this financial literacy and this point of view? Chioma.
Okay, yeah. With regards to financial literacy is very important if we are going to move anywhere. I tell people that you can have all the dreams you have, but if you don't have the little financial muscle to ignite the dreams, yeah, those dreams are actually going to stay inside you for a very long time. I say this because we are all human, and we understand how money matters is a problem in the family. Okay, there are some families that are lucky where maybe the man does not complain. He wants to carry all the burden But then there are, as a woman, there are some things you might want to do which are going to be kept on hold, because the family has to follow attending to needs based on priority. So financial literacy is very important. Every woman should be taught the fact that you should be able to make some income, no matter how small it is. Even if you are at home, I tell people, even if you are at home, with the way our society is going now, so many people are very busy. You can do things for people at home and make money. In Nigeria now, I have a friend. She doesn't go out. She's at home, but she cooks for people, and that's how also where the internet helps. She advertises on her Facebook page. She cooks. Then you can place your order. She will cook. Then you will come and pick up. These are for people that are so busy that they don't want to go to the market. Sometimes she goes to market for people. When she's going to buy for her family, she will also buy for those that are so busy. And she makes some extra change. And I believe you me, the way I saw her last year and the way I'm seeing her now, there is an improvement. There's an empowerment, in her. So it goes to tell us that as a woman, financial literacy, you should know about money making. That is one thing. And then you should also know about prudence in savings. There are people that are lucky that their husbands give them a lot of money for upkeep and all that. There is no rule that says that all the money must go, you must spend all of it. That is where you learn. If you have good financial literacy, you also learn how to save, because there will everly be rainy days when maybe the man does not have enough, and then you provide. And when you learn that all those kind of financial support in the family, when you have issues as a woman, I'm sure that you will also get those kind of support as a feedback. So like what Dr. Sarita said, at home here in Nigeria, we have all those schemes, saving schemes. Join one in your community. Join them, contribute as little as you can. Have something. Even there are some that we do in Nigeria here where we pay every week. Then at the end of the year, we share food stuff. Our Christmas happens at the end of the year, Christmas celebrations and all that. So you have enough to feed your family throughout the festive period and into the new year when there are a lot of expenses. So these are some of the attributes I will expect, our ladies to inculcate in them. When you show this kind of maturity, financial maturity, when you now begin to talk in the family, people begin to listen to you. But when you are being seen as someone that is just there for the spending, I'm not saying it's bad to spend, but when you are just there for the spending, I don't know who else is going to liberate you. You have to liberate yourself first. So women should actually take financial literacy very seriously, prudence in saving very seriously, and it will also so the prudence in spending and savings very, very seriously. It will help them. Even when you want to pursue, maybe you want to go to a course or a program, you can pay for your admission forms, and then maybe your husband cannot support you to pay for your school fees and all that. But when you don't have anything to bring to the table, it makes your case very, very, I don't know how to describe it at the end of the day. So that's my own contribution.
Okay, thank you. Madam Brenda, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I want to take this question for you, Mr. Shahrukh Shuman. Congratulations, WTEF Forum, for contributing on economy. Anyway, is there a standardized research for the assessment of gender inequalities or discrimination within the context of development? Thank you, Mr. Shuman, for your good question. Madam Brenda.
So as far as research is concerned, I think Dr. Sarita will help me there in terms of the standard research there's there, but to an extent that it affects development. I mean, I alluded to that earlier on when I said that, when there's inequality, it will at some point impede development in that community. And where you see that the countries that have got more gender equal laws or they are advocating for gender equality, you'll find that those countries are progressing more. Even companies that have got more representation, that is diverse, especially at the top, you find that those companies have got a good reputation out there and they are able to do well and they develop even more as a company in terms of profit making and meeting their targets, but even the employees, the people that work for them, they will develop more. And the communities that that they serve as well, they are able to then give back to those communities and do more for the communities, and they grow as a business. So I think there's a strong case for having gender equal laws in government, policies, in organization, and that will do well or development in those different
Okay, Madam Brenda, thank you. Dr. Sharita, how do you want to add this point, especially when the research and this kind of things come?
Yes, I think there is enough research, enough data to suggest that uh, gender inequality is very much there, and it has been impacting the kind of lives that we have in the society. So I think I would really I don't have the data with me, but there is enough data to
Hmm.
prove
Hmm.
already there. So yes, I would just like to add to what Brenda
Hmm.
has been saying, that yes, it has been proved again and again that any companies or any organization or even countries that are headed by women have a different way of
Hmm.
functioning. So as I had said earlier in the discussion, that if men bring a specific kind of skill to the organization, women also have their own skill sets which they bring to the organization, but we have not been able to give them their due. We have not been able to use their skill sets to the maximum, and I think that is where we are lacking as a society. Now we
Hmm.
need to do that. We Whatever research is there, whatever data is there, is on one side, but and whatever laws and all are there. Every country is trying to bring in laws, with more women-friendly laws. Every country politically is bringing up laws to bring more women representation, but it's not happening on a practical level. We are just talking theory here. We are not giving it the kind of commitment or practice that we should have been giving. So I think it's high time that we started working on this. We have had enough laws, we have had enough research. Now, what we need to do is that we need to work on making these laws a reality. We need to work on making these policies a reality. So that is
Hmm.
where our responsibilities as a civil society, as a country, as educated citizens lies. I mean, our responsibilities have increased in the sense that we need to work towards giving a practical format to the theories. We have had enough of theories, I think, Mr. Sharif.
Hmm.
So, yes, let's work towards achieving that balance. We need to give women their share now. We need to give them their voice, and we need to give them a chance to explore the skill sets and the kind of expertise that they can bring to any organization.
Yes, but I will discuss something about this gender issue, especially based on World Bank report. And there are still, I think, there are a long way we have to go, and we have to do add different kind of informations and data. Data is very important right now. But I want to add few questions for our participants. Hosna Arafetdos, congratulations WTEF. Thank you for your comment. What barrier women face in the developing career across their working lives? And Rizvi Sultana, thank you, Rizvi. How to enhance women and girls' participation in the society? Uh, I just want to focus on this data. If you see that maternal mortality halved in low and middle income countries, if you see this data, uh, I think I think that maternal mortality ratio in the number of women who died from pregnancy related cause while pregnancy or within the 42 days of the pregnancy terminations for 100,000 live birth. So this is happening in the real life. This is happening, especially this data I think from developing nations. I think this is from the developing nations, low income countries. This is the middle income countries, and this is the high income countries. So high income country, but on the other hands, the low income countries, there are a lot of challenges. So yes, Madam Sharita, and then Chioma, how do you want to add this point?
Yes, of course. We have a lot many challenges when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to societal biases, when it comes to education, finance, security, everything. You look at whichever area you look at, I find it dismal. so, there is so much that we face right now. There is so much that needs to be done. These challenges need to be looked into. And as I was saying now, mere lip service is not going to take us anywhere. We have to make it our number one agenda. We have to keep this in mind that as a government, as civil societies, as public and private sectors, we have to come together and tackle these problems from multi-pronged. We need to have a multi-pronged approach. We just cannot focus on one area and leave the rest. We have to tackle it from all fronts. We have to talk about education. We have to think about women, empowering women. We have to talk about their gender. We have the health security. We have to talk about their physical security, social measures, attitudinal biases. All these data make me more more and more frustrated when I look at these. But I would also like to look at better things that every government in every country is trying its best. But
Mhm.
I would also like to say here something that I would like to see more of even religious places, places of worship could do something on this, because I think religion is one area which has always pulled women down. Religion has always, in the name of culture, tradition, and women, women have always been, dragged down. So I think if religion could also open its eyes, and if religion itself could become more compassionate towards women and work on their benefits, I think it would again help change attitudinal biases, especially in developed nations where religion plays such a huge role in changing our mindsets and in preconditioning us with ideas and attitudes. So I would like to see that also, along with government and civil societies and others. I would like to see uh, religious houses coming up with uh, with support for women.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, Madam Brenda, what do you want to add? Especially World Bank. World Bank, I think they are publishing some papers already about the gender and COVID-19, and according to these reports, right now, gender issues is a big issues, and that those who are women, especially developing nations, those who are actually women go for the early marriage. They have unemployment issues. Those who are engaged with the small medium enterprise or the small organization, they have lot of challenge. So what the solution we have, what the real scenario?
Yeah. So I think it paints a good picture in terms of the reality of women in this pandemic. We have seen a lot of women losing jobs, not only because the economic impact of COVID was big. It affected everybody, men included, but it affected women more because think about it. If I'm a single mother,
Yes, I think Chioma, do you want to add something on that point?
I think yes, I think COVID-19 just made it more evident that there is a lot of
and I'm
gap,
working.
a lot of gender gap. Okay, please. Okay. Can I go on?
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
Okay. Okay. So I said that COVID-19 just made it more evident that there is a lot of gender gap in as in both in economic empowerment, in education, in health access to healthcare, and so many other fronts. So it's not like these issues have not been existing before now. These issues have been very have they're actually existential issues, but with the whole lockdown situations and all that, it has become more evident that there is a gulf that needs to be filled. And how do we attempt to fill this gulf? Like Dr. Sarita said, there's a lot of big talk. You know, there are a lot of big talks, there are a lot of symposium, there are a lot of discussions about how do we do this, how do we do that. But I think this is time to come down to specifics. It's time to come down to practice and not just about the theories. Okay, how can we achieve this? I mentioned an NGO that is picking women and paying their fees to go back to school to write exams. This is an appeal that I'm going to make to agencies, organizations, and our government, especially in the developing countries. Can we be more sincere with the strategies and the programs that we map out for women? How to give them access to education? Okay, in some places you say we have given them employment. Quota, let the women take this quota, let the men take this quota. At the end of the day, found that these things actually don't even uh, play out in practice. They are just written in the big books, and it never plays out. So can we be more sincere in the way we implement these issues? And the issue of health issues with women, there are so many challenges that are faced by women, especially during pregnancy, childbirth, and all that. And most of these problems take their roots from religious beliefs and societal conditioning. Like in Africa and even in Nigeria, there is this belief that when you put to bed through cesarean section, you are more like half of a woman that's put to bed through to the natural way. So you find people a lot of women dying in the process of trying to prove that they're actually great at that. These are things that come because of the way we interpret the Bible or whatever is as in books that you read in your religion, and then the kind of issues that we discuss in our culture and all that. So if we can actually start attacking most of these stereotypes, it will help us to make sure that women have a clear mind. They have a clear mind and to access to education, access to health care that they need, and then they can now be able to aspire and take up roles without worrying about how they'll be looked at in church, how they'll be looked at in the society. Are they less of a woman because they are doing this or they are doing that? So these are some of the ways that we can help to bridge this gap and get more women to actively participate, and to try and see if we can get to a near gender equality, which I don't know when it's going to happen, but if we make a conscientious effort, we can try to close the gap.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Sharita. Uh, we have major problem in the workplace, I think, with the gender issues, especially when it's a World Economic Forum reports, even it's a 2020 reports. In the recent reports, we find actually the situation is very, very challenging, and we have to take care of this point. So beside these discussions about these World Economic Forums, what's going on in the gender issues with specific data, I want to take more question from audience, especially uh, I think she want to know, is there a connections between a personal moral life and their quality of life, as well as okay, we can discuss on that particular point, especially glass ceiling factors and the gender issue, especially in the workplace. Yes.
Yes, I think I had seen one of the questions earlier where someone had asked about the kind of issues that women face in the work front. Yes, I would talk on this first and then move on to the other question. When I was looking at all the data that you have put forward here, I think we should have a pre-COVID and post-COVID data. If we do the comparison between these two, we will come up with, stunning results, which will, shocking results, I should say, because post COVID, I think at least 39% of women have lost their jobs. They have gone back to serving the family because now the children are at home. Even the old people need to be given care. And who best than the woman at home? Even in developed countries like USA, 19% of women are supposed to have either gone for either left a job or gone for a change in the job because, they can no longer keep the kind of working hours that they used to pre-COVID. So COVID has changed the dynamics of everything, and whatever little that we have achieved in terms of women empowerment, I'm afraid to say that we are at the brink of losing everything. I think we have almost lost so much post COVID that in many areas we might have to start from a zero when it comes to women empowerment. And when I'm talking about these data where women have either given up on their jobs, they have left their jobs, resigned their jobs, because there are so many factors at play here. First is that it is the family which has to be given priority to, and between the husband and wife, especially in developing countries, it is the wife that makes the sacrifice. She is the one who is underpaid because she is the one who is underpaid. If you look at a couple, both of them who are daily wage earners, the women is getting lesser wage than the man also. And naturally, if between the two of them, one has to leave the job, it is the women who will leave the job because the man earns more than her. So it is only but logical. Okay. So that is one area where, women have been hammered very badly. So she'll stay back home because caregiving has become more important. Suddenly the children are not in school anymore. They are at home 24/7. And there are also the old people that need to be taken care of. Okay, so that is there. And again, in the work front, if some women have been able to stick to the job, if they have been able to keep their jobs, now it comes to how is she going to balance the family and the job? As it is earlier, she had many responsibilities. Now the responsibilities have only multiplied. The responsibilities have multiplied, and because of that, she may not be able to give her 100% to the job. It's but natural. Things have changed so much. So we already had barriers, we already had the glass ceiling. Now we have added problems to it. So more and more women are either being they are laid off or they are themselves coming out of the job because they can no longer do justice to it. They feel so. I don't know where we are heading towards post COVID. I think it's going to be a huge challenge for all of us to uh, think to put things back to where they were. Now I see young girls around me. For an entire year, they have not gone to school, and not everyone is having online classes. Government school students are not having online classes; they are at home. And what do the girls do? They are helping their mothers with the household chores. So that is where we have come back to. If we're sending the girls to school earlier, we are no longer doing that because of so many circumstances. And somewhere, even that the conditioning is so wired that even the girls are happy being home. So that's the when I see this kind of situation, I don't know what how much it will take us in order to build up a society where we have more equality, more representation, and less of these gender discussions. I would want to uh, go to a period. I would want that period to come to us as early as possible, where we are no longer having these kind of discussions.
Yes, thank you. One point. Even there is a many things. I think our audience, those who are joining, you can do a lot of research with this kind of organization. They have many publication, research work, and many things. I just want to add this point, only this point, from the it's according to World Economic Forums, the time it will take to close to the gender gap narrowed to 99.5 years in year 2019. So it takes more around 100 years to fill up this gender gap. So yeah, Chioma and Brenda, what do you want to add?
That in itself is just depressing. Uh, so it just says that there's so much that still needs to be done. And it's across all spheres. It's health, it's education, it's everywhere. I wanted to relate a story of a woman that I got to meet. This lady is a frontline worker. She's a nurse, so she was obviously working throughout the pandemic. She had to be at work on lockdown. She has 3 kids. The schools were closed. The childcare centers were closed. People were scared to take anybody into their homes, especially when you've got an exposure like a person working in healthcare. You couldn't travel anywhere, so therefore she couldn't send the kids to her mother who lives in another town. At work, they do not even have childcare centers where they can bring their kids into the workplace, but in a secure environment. When she takes time off work, it means she is compromised at work. She had to pay someone with her little salary to take care of her kids. And, you know, with the little salary that she has, it means that her income is now halved. Towards the end of the pandemic or the lockdowns, when we got to level 1, the retrenchments came. Guess what happened? She was the first person to be chopped out. So this is healthcare, where when the lockdown started, when the pandemic started, all the governments, and I mean in all the countries, developed or not developed countries, we're talking about we're going to have this relief packages, and we're going to focus on healthcare. We're going to prioritize healthcare workers. So now, if they can do that to women in frontline during the pandemic, health sector, which is more important, what more do you think they are doing to women in other sectors? How much more do you think needs to be done in other sectors where the issue is facing you, the crisis is here, you don't even recognize that you need to do more to ensure that these people are protected and taken care of. So there is more effort that needs to be taken care of. Dr. Sarita earlier on spoke about the psyche that needs to change in our society, both in us as women to be able to stand up and say, no, this is wrong, when it happens to us individually and when it happens to somebody next to us, because it means it will happen to us next. Men as well, when these policies are unjust, to stop and say, guys, let's do better, because we can do better. So think of it as, just go back to the Ubuntu principle that, we really, the spirit that we think is a spirit of togetherness, the spirit that recognizes that, you cannot be without another person. We are part of a community. Think about that and say, should the same thing happen to me, how would I feel? What if it happens to my mother? What if it happened to my sister? What if there were no women in the world? I mean, it is just, a simple thing that one needs to think about and then say, what is it that I can do to make the situation better? So change your way of thinking, change the way you support your wife at home, change the way you raise your girl child, change the way you treat your mother, you treat your sister, and how you raise your boy child, how you treat your women employees at work. And then go back and say, are the policies in my organization talking to the spirit of equality? And then the laws in the country, is the practice aligned to what we are saying? Because it's very good to put it on paper and tell the whole world that we're doing it, but back in the ranch is not happening. And I think we need to start putting in place the key performance measurements, KPIs of sorts, and key risk indicators. Well, I'm a risk person, I'll always talk about that. When do we know that we are not progressing in gender equality? What are those things that are telling us this thing is not happening the way we had intended to, because it means we're not going to achieve our strategic objective, right, of gender equality. It means instead of 100 years, for now, if we have planned it will be 100 years if we do 1, 2, and 3. If by year 3 we have not done the stuff that we are supposed to do in the past 2 years, it means it will be 200 years. And then it becomes 300 years. So we need to have measurements, milestones, and say, when we get here, we should have achieved this. If not, let's do something else.
Yes. Chioma, what do you want to add? Beside that, I think Chioma, you have some problem in audio. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I do agree a lot with Brenda when she said that we should be able to measure our risk appetite with regards to this gender gender equality issues and all that. How much can we take as people with regards to gender issues and all that? Because when you say it's going to take us 100 years to cover the that means so many of us are going to be long gone before this dream is actualized. And then the strategies that have been mapped out, are we actually meeting up to the milestones that we have set? Are we meeting up to them? Are we doing enough to cover? It's not enough to say it's going to take 100 years and then the whole of 2020 we had a pandemic that took the few girls that were in school before back to the homes. So are we still at 100 years and all that? So there's a lot that needs to be done. And then at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to the will, our will as a people to make the change. There are people we call he's for she down here in Nigeria. I don't know if people have them. He's for she. He's for she are those men that support female gender issues. They support our goals. They are in the top management levels and all that. If we call for action plans, they are there for us and all that. So we need to encourage more men to become his for she, to support these goals, because this is a battle that we cannot fight alone. I take myself, for example. When I had to start my PhD, I was going to school in a different state. It takes about 4 hours drive from my home to where I was going to school. There are days I will go and I won't come back for 2 days, because I have to take courses and all that. Then my husband will have to do school runs. He will have to be there for the children, while I am away. So if you don't have men who will agree to support, a woman to become empowered, then no matter the policies that we make, no matter the strategies that we map out, no matter the grammar we speak at every point in time, we're not going to achieve anything. And how do we achieve this? It starts from training the children. When you give birth to children, there should be no role stereotyping at home. Girls are supposed to be in the kitchen, boys are supposed to be in the sitting room watching TV, and then they grow up with that, and then you want them to change overnight because they are now married to now start doing chores. We can train the boys better. I tell my boys that learning how to do things, cleaning your environment, you are not doing it to help me as your mother. Is a survival skill. You should be able to clean your environment, take care of yourself. So this is a strategy that I'm passing on to every woman who is raising children. Raise children in a balanced role environment. Let them learn how to do things. Let the boys learn how to support their mothers and their sisters. It will help them to support their wives when they grow up and get married. So it will also help us to cover this the 100 years gap, which is making me so depressed. Like hearing that it's going to take 100 years for things to get better. So we can actually achieve that by making the home a little bit more comfortable for the woman at home when she gets some help.
Okay, thank you. I just want to take two more questions, just two more questions. And can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Azizur Rahman, thank you for your comments. His question is that is gender equality possible in family life between sibling and within a married couple? This is between the spouse. And thank you, Shumon Dorji. Can you recommend a theory that can explain how power moderates gender relationship to produce gender-based violence and inequality? And Shumi, his last question is that technology education. Thank you for your nice comment. What is the research or academic document that can confirm that gender responsive budgetings could reduce the disparity and inequality in the society? Yes, Dr. Sharita.
Okay. So which question am I supposed to answer?
It's up to you.
All of them.
Okay, I would like to talk about, yes, I would like to talk about gender. How can we achieve gender equality at home between siblings and spouse, you know? Yes, I think, yes, here again, we have come to conditioning. We need to empowered men and empowered women raise empowered children. So it is up to us now. The baton has been passed on to us. We are raising our own children now. So we cannot make a comparison between how we were raised and how we will raise them. So I think we have a very huge responsibility when it comes to becoming parents, that we need to instill the right kind of values in our children now. We need to stop making the difference between a boy and a girl, as Chioma has been saying. We need to now talk to them as humans, because even the boys will need to learn how to cook, how to clean the house, because this is not something which they are doing in order to help the mother in the family, or the sister. It is for themselves that they are doing it. As important as it is to brush your teeth and take baths, I think it is important for the boys to learn how to cook for themselves or for the family or to clean the house. So I think now that the baton is in our hands, we need to do a lot. And yes, I would say that let us not always be blaming the mothers for having not raised the children correctly. I think it's high time we start bringing in the fathers into the parental responsibilities as well. It is always like, okay, the father goes out to work and the mother is in home 24/7. So she is responsible for what the children are doing and not doing. No, now we are talking 50-50. We are talking partnership. We are not talking about you are doing this and I am doing this and that. Equality in all respects. I will go along with you to earn the bread for the family because I am capable enough. At the same time, you also have to take up responsibilities in the home. What we are teaching the children, what we are giving them. And if you are an empowered man, you will not in any day feel lesser to me when you give me my equal rights. You will not feel less to me in any way. If you're respecting me as a woman, if you are giving me my due, if you're trying to empower me in your own ways, you are not lessening yourself in any way. I think you are showing to the world that you are a confident person. You are a confident man because you are not scared of the woman taking equal roles. You're not scared of giving her her due. So I think it starts in the family. We have to start doing it. Every one of us, whoever is listening to me today, I would like to urge everyone through this platform that yes, we need to work at it, both men and women.
Thank you. Brenda.
I totally agree with that. And I mean, we're talking about raising this kids so that the next generation is better. But I think there's also recognition of the current issues that the current generation has got. I mean, we're sitting around this table or in this panel, and we've got our own challenges as well. We've got our sisters and our mothers that are going through the most because of what has been because of these doctrines, because of how we've been raised and all of that. So we also need to start as, you know, as we are as adults, to stop saying to these young girls that are getting married that, you know, your job is in the kitchen or your place is in the kitchen, and, you know, your only responsibility is to bear children and take care of the men. We don't tell the man that your responsibility is to take care of this woman. And by that, we don't mean just bring in the butter. Recognize that, she gets tired as well. Help her in the kitchen, clean the house, as a woman as well, get up. Educate yourself, go out there and be the best person that you are. Think about when you meet your partner, you excited about this individual who has achieved or who is this amazing. But sometimes, and I mean sometimes, as women as well, we tend to lose ourselves when we get married, and we think, you know what, you forget that individual, your dreams and all of that. So I think to my fellow sisters to also say, do not lose yourself as soon as you get a partner. Understand that you are still an individual. You are still, your dreams are still valued. You still have so much value, so much to give to the world. There's a reason you are here, right? So you need to do more, because as you do that, you become an example for your kids. To say that, my mother was this. I mean, we talk about the women that have raised us, how strong they are, how strong they were. And we have taken that, up, we've looked up to them, and we've taken that as an example to be the women that we are today. So if they can be our role model, so let our own role modeling help others to know that, they can be better. They don't have to live in a world where everything revolves around the men and they become second-class citizens. It's all about being human, being a responsible citizen, raising responsible citizens, raising good people. It has got nothing to do with anything else. If we forget everything, it's just about the moral values. Can we just learn to live together, help each other? Also, with that comes the recognition that as much as we're talking 50-50, I do not have the same strength that the man has. So you find men saying that, listen, I can dig a hole for the whole day. You will be tired within the first 10 minutes. I am not created the same way that you are. I might not have the same strengths. The recognition of that as well, to say, I can excel at the same level as you are, but our strengths might be different. So if you recognize that as a man, as a partner in the relationship, there are things that you need to cover a woman on. Just like a man cannot carry a child for 9 months. It's the same thing. So, recognize there are things that women are able to do, and there are things that men are able to do. But it doesn't take away from the person, the people that they are, or it doesn't mean that, they need to be respected less. We need to have equal respect, and there needs to be that mutual support, because it is when we work together that we both benefit and the community at large starts to benefit.
Thank you. For cyber trauma, I think these questions you can cover, or from any of the questions you can cover from previous one. Taslima Khatun, thank you for your comments. Does gender responsiveness finance of basic education lead to gender equality at the level of educations? And beside that, they want to know any kind of theory or anything you want to add for today's discussion.
About gender. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. The other person asked about gender responsive budgeting, and then this person is asking about gender responsive funding for education. I think any government that understands that there is a gulf between male and female access to education, participation in governance, and access to finance, will understand that making having a budget or financing education based on gender policies will help to cover this gap. Why do I say this? Let's have, okay, let me take, for example, in Nigeria, there are exams that we write to move from primary to secondary schools. And then you observe that when you write those exams, you see them having different cutoff marks for the male and the female. It now encourages the girls, even though they're not able to make as much points, maybe because of maybe they have to do a lot of work at home and all that. It helps them to get admissions into these schools. And then if you begin to have funding programs that target the female gender to encourage them to come to school, it will help us to cover this gap. Why do I say this? So many parents, especially in Africa and in my area, for example, don't believe that it is good investment to train a girl in school. So you will see girls that have they can't go to school because their parents feel if they send them to school, they're actually wasting their money, because at the end of the day, they will get married and start bearing another person's name. Then their investment would have gone. But this can be solved if we have educational funding programs for women. It can attract these girls that are not able to go to school because their parents don't want to send them to school, or their parents are too poor to send them to school. So they can actually have access to education. And when there is equal access to education, it will help us to achieve, we'll have enough ladies competing for roles at the boardroom, competing for jobs, in the classrooms, and it will help us to cover the gap in the gender disparity, as in the gender disparity between male and the female gender. Because if you don't have enough people that have gone to school or that are qualified, then how do you cover the gap? So having programs that are gender-based, educational programs that are gender-based will help us to bridge the gap between male and female gender participation in governance, in politics, and in every other aspect of human life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Because our audience want to know more about the theory and theoretical aspects. Yes. So I just want to share one point. This theoretical aspect, actually 7 theories of gender inequality. If our audience want to know more about the theory and the research framework, they already asked me questions. These theories of gender inequality, its author is Mark, and you can study this. I think it will help you a lot. So there are more questions from the audience, but I directly want to go for the concluding remarks for today. Sorry about that, because we have to finish our sessions. So I want to start with Brenda, then Chioma, and Sharita, Madam Sharita, about the closing remarks for today's sessions. Beside that, I want to add that World Talent Economy Forum, Asia Research and Development Institute, Al Noor Academy, Sarhadiya Barhat, we are working together, and we are trying to develop a knowledge-based community. Already we are working with different education organizations as well as industry, and we are last 12 years of time our organization actually contributing a lot, but this time we come up with the online because of the COVID situations. So we want more intellectual community like you, like Dr. Sharita, Madam Brenda, even Chioma, everybody, like those who can contribute. You can see that our audience has many questions because they want to learn more. Gender is a big issue. It takes around 100 years to solve these things. So if women researcher like Dr. Sharita, Chioma, even Madam Brenda from industry, if they can contribute for our research work, and especially they can fulfill the requirement for the peoples and the society, it will be very effective. I think still there is a huge questions, but for the time issues, I need to go for the closing remarks. So Chioma, are you ready for the closing remarks?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I want to leave our audience with just this very short remark. First of all, let's learn how to raise the new generation better, so that we'll get a better support for men and women. Because when a man supports a woman supports a man, the home is happier, and when the home is happier, we actually achieve more in the society. So we should raise the children better. and then we can contribute to covering this gender gap as much as we can by starting little programs that helps to encourage the young girls, that helps to empower the rural women as much as we can. And then this is a call to the governments of different countries of the world to be more sincere in their strategies and in their approaches and in their programs. Let it not just be an elephant project or just for the big talks and the big grammar. Let this help get to those that actually need them, so that we can see if we can shorten this 100-year gap that we have to bridge this gender gap. It's a pleasure being on this program, and I wish to thank the host and my fellow panelists and the audience, and I wish to be back anytime soon because I enjoy having these discussions on this platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Brenda. Yes.
Thank you as well, Sharif, for giving me the opportunity to be here. And thanks to my fellow TEFs ladies for being here with me. And I think back to the topic, it is important for us to just remember that we are all human. We need to support each other regardless of our gender or our background, or it is in the diversity where we become stronger, where we learn more, where we develop more. So to bridge this gender equality, I don't buy into the whole 100-year story. So I need to say that out loud. I don't think that it is real. I think it is up to us to ensure that we narrow that gap. If each of us, starting from today, can go and do a little something, to advance gender equality, I promise you, 100 years, we'll be sitting here next year and looking, thinking about a different period to the 100 years. It's a little act in your own household, in your community, in your company, in your government, in your country. Before you know it, it's a global phenomenon. So I think all of us need to do something towards progressing gender equality, and not just gender equality, equality in all spheres of life. Let's just remember to be human. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Sharita.
Yes, so Mr. Sharif, as always, it's a pleasure being on your show. I would like to congratulate you once again for having, yes, you are celebrating your 150th episode. It's such a proud moment for you as well as for us. We are also associated with you very closely, and we always wish you more success, more power. Yes, so I would like to say to today's audience that everything starts in the mind. And everything ends in the mind itself. So if the controlling and dominating thought originated here, it has to end here. If it ends here, everything is possible. And as Brenda says, the 100-year that we are talking of today will be just 1 year or a maximum 2 to 3 years, because each one of us have the power to think. Each one of us are gifted with the power to make a difference to everyone's lives, to anyone's lives that we want to. So let's start thinking. Let's start doing that from this moment onwards. So let's think, let's end it here, so that next episode maybe we can have happy discussions. So thank you so much. Yes, the chat really rocked, I think. Yes. You're always a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Sharita, Madam Brenda, and Chioma. Thank you for your valuable time. Especially, I love to give special thanks to our audience. Even I want to take few of their names: Sharmin, Shohidul, Taslima, Shumi, Shumon, Azizur Rahman, Tahrina, Shahrukh, Lesiba, Rizvi, Hosneara, Onika, Sham, Sohel Rana. He's doing a lot of work for World Talent Economy Forum. Especially, I want to give thanks to him. Mahadia Hassan, Humaira Tanzila, and Sobha Sharma. I think everybody know her. So I want to give special thanks to everyone, those who every time you are actually motivate our team a lot sometimes we face a lot of challenges, lot of issues. uh, but when we find a feedback from our audience, when they support us, that time we feel very positive, and we only work for the people, those who are supporting World Talent Economy Forum, and especially the guests, those who expend their valuable times and everything with us. Thank you, and especially only because of your support, we can celebrate 150th episode today. We have to go long and we have to move forward. We need all of your support and collaborations and your best wishes. Thank you for today's session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take care. Take care.